If something sounds convoluted, it probably is. Why? The God of Israel inspired the prophets of Israel with oracles that are for all mankind, not just fancy scholars with fancy IQs and fancy titles. Salvation has to be accessible to anyone.
Okay, so Kelly, you're live on the air. What's the question for Rabbi?
How are you? Hi, Will. So I do have a question concerning about the Messiah and the Davidic line. So a lot of Christian missionaries have been making a strong argument to a lot of the non-Christians that it is impossible for the Jewish people today or the future to even know who the correct Messiah is, because we do not have the Davidic scroll anymore that should tell us the genealogy of King David's line. So essentially, the Jewish people are set up to fail and follow the Antichrist, because there had to have been a first coming of the Messiah, because the first coming of the Messiah happened during the time where the scroll of King David's genealogy existed at the temple.
I want you to stay with me on this, and I'd like to walk this through with you. William, keep him on. Okay. So let's just play what if we may. What if we have the Davidic scroll with us today? Let's think that through, okay? The claim is there was a Davidic scroll that's lost, okay? So sometimes an easy way to solve an equation or a conundrum is to just go, what if? So let's imagine this together. There was a scroll, okay? And we had it. Are you following me?
Yes.
Good. So what if we had a scroll, and today there are, I presume, hundreds of thousands of people who are descendants of King David, right? I know quite a few people from the house of David. Okay, so we have a scroll, okay? What would it be made out of? I don't know, be made out of parchment, right? On vellum.
Did you prove that, though? That was the question you just answered.
So I want to do this. I want to say we have it and I prove it, okay? Because I want to eliminate that. I want to get to a point. Okay, so we have a scroll. You tell me, let's think this through. What happens next? Somebody comes forward and goes, I'm the Messiah, and then you go, hold on, buddy, one moment. And then you so explain what you would do. You would do what? You would look it up on the scroll? So, it's like people think like you show up at a restaurant, a fancy restaurant, and you go, I have a reservation. What does the person who's working the front desk at the restaurant say? Says, what's your name? And then they look it up and they say, oh, look at that. Thank you, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith, I presume. We have a table waiting for you. I can see your 8 o'clock reservation. Is that what you're saying this is? That like we would just look it up on a scroll? We'd check it? Think.
That's what Christian missionaries are.
I don't care about them. I want you to think. You need to think this through. And would we need identification? Like he says, my name is Feivel Moshe, going all the way back to King David, okay? And and my grandfather's name was Leibish, and so what would you do then? Let's say you have a scroll. This is a non-existent scroll. This is all made up. This is all Casper the Friendly Ghost. This is all cartoons. This is all Marvel comic garbage. But let's say what I want to do is I want to just go, fine, I'll concede it. There was a scroll that's, I don't know what scroll this is, and it was destroyed somehow. And let's say it wasn't destroyed. Like, how would you know that person's in the house of David? Like, here we are now. How would you know? You understand? It's silly.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I want you to do for now. I want you to think, does it say anywhere in the Bible that we're supposed to look it up in some sort of scroll? Is there anywhere in Tanakh that we would look it up? Do you know how many descendants King David has today? Like, who would be it? And how would you prove that that's who your grandfather came from? Let me ask you a question, my dear brother. Let me ask you this. Here we are. the nation of Israel returns back to the land of Israel. All the enemies of Israel are defeated. All the nations are speaking B'sofa brura, in a pure speech. The Beis HaMikdash, the temple, is rebuilt in Yerushalayim. And here is the man. And we say, not so fast. I know there's a world knowledge of God, the ingathering exiles, the temple's built, but I want to see identification. And what ID would he present that he even is on the scroll? Biometrics? What? A passport? You see how silly this is? Anyways, thank you very much for your question.
The Messiah by the actions of the...
Messiah Mashiach by what he's going to do. And in fact, it tells us in the text, thank you for your question, if we look at Zechariah chapter 9, verse 10, all nations will serve him. That means if there's anybody doubting it, not so fast, that means he can't be Mashiach. The whole point of Mashiach is the whole world will serve him, Daniel chapter 7, verse 14. Gosh, if Christians knew Daniel 7:14 as well as they knew Daniel 7:13, we might not be in this much trouble, would we? It's a good circular thing. As when the true Mashiach comes, everyone knows. Now you ask, how will they know? How will they know? Because the whole world will be changed. Look what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia now. Need I say more? Look what's going on in Syria right now. Need I say more? Look what's going on in Iran right now. Need I say more? America is spending $500 billion on armaments every year. $500 billion. $500 billion. That's the number at least I remember. $500 billion on armaments with its ships, its fleets, its aircraft carriers. How many aircraft carriers? That means Mashiach's not here. If America should have one aircraft carrier, that means Mashiach hasn't come. My dear brothers and sisters, there are many people, I'm sure they mean well, who declare their loyalty to the Bible, but they don't know it. To them, Jesus is Superman. You ever watch Superman? Superman was the one who showed up exactly at the right time, looked terrific, and knew exactly what to say and do at any given time. That's what you find in the Gospels. There's nothing like that in Tanakh. There's nothing like that in Tanakh. And I say this to you, I am very happy that some people like me. Make no mistake about it. I like people. Who doesn't want to be liked? Don't like me so much. Go back to the original text. Read it for yourself. I always say it to you, Kindle. Halavai, I only wish that you wouldn't need me. I don't want to be needed. I'm not saying I'm not happy people like me. To all of you who send me these wonderful messages, it means the world to me. But in truth, there are times that I say, don't rely on me. Go back to the text. If you read Isaiah, but in context, all of Isaiah, you're not going to believe in any of this stuff. That's all you need to do. You will become a new creation if you read the book of Jeremiah. If you read the 5 books of Moses, you're not going to believe anything in Christianity. You won't need me. When Mashiach comes, the world will be changed, and everyone will know that he is the king. He is the Davidic king that will speak in the name of Hashem. Everyone will know that. No one's going to say, hold on, buddy, I want to see your identification. That's the whole point. So if anybody claims to be Mashiach and not everyone accepts him, that means he's not Mashiach. This is all silly. It's all garbage in, garbage out. The key is Tanakh. The key is Zechariah 9:10. I implore you. Don't trust me. I mean, just look it up, please. Make sure what I'm sharing with you is in context, that I'm not reading anything into the text. And that's also, I wanted you to know this. If something sounds convoluted, it probably is. Why? Because the God of Israel inspired the prophets of Israel with oracles that are for all mankind, not just fancy scholars with fancy IQs and fancy titles. Salvation has to be accessible to anyone. It's so simple. And therefore, if something sounds convoluted, it probably is not of God. So if there's a scroll. Let's say we had a scroll. How would someone say, how would someone prove he's stupid? I love you. I'm sorry for throwing a tantrum, but I want you all guys to understand. I want you to teach you how to think. And it's not complicated. All I'm saying is put the Hebrew Bible first. The church says that the Hebrew Bible should be first. Its claim is, it's fantastic, that it is based on the Hebrew Bible. Fantastic doesn't mean bad, it's just, okay, you're making the claim, let's look it up for ourselves. Thank you for your question.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ואת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה